People see the finished podcast, the lights, the clips, the guests, the vibe. What they don't see is all that it takes to build something like this from nothing. The late nights, the self-doubt, the messages that never get replied to. The edits that take way longer than you expected. The weeks where you're not even sure if there's anyone watching. Bruh. So in this episode, I'm pulling back the curtain. I'm breaking down how I built this podcast from scratch with no budget, no team, no studio when I started, just a microphone, a vision, and a lot of trial and error. I'll share what worked, what didn't, what almost made me quit, and what I wish someone told me before I started. Don't record an episode on bonfire night.
It's like inspired by a baby driver to really make the music as important to the plot as the plot is. Sorry. Bonfire night.
If you're a creative or you're sitting on an idea right now, or you've ever thought, oh man, I'd love to do something like this, but I don't know where to start, this episode is for you. This is the Epicvision Podcast, and this is how I built it. This podcast did not start with a big plan. Just a mic, 3 phones, and pure stubbornness. No studio, no budget, no sponsor, just vibes. Hey, 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 hey. Speaking of vibes, shoutouts to Kid Magic, the creator of the Epicvision theme song. He did a madness on that one. It started with me watching millions of YouTube tutorials, Googling best podcast mics under £50, then recording my first episode thinking, yeah, that sounds professional, and going ahead to post it. It did not. It sounded like I was recording in a microwave, but I posted it anyway because perfection is the fastest way to never start. People think you just record, upload, blow up, boom, you're famous. That's it. When the reality is record, re-record, fix audio, fix lighting, fix framing, fix sound again, export. Realizing, no, something is wrong. Export again. The laptop starts sounding like a jet engine. Panic. Then you hit upload and get 43 views. Oh my God! Wow! We still celebrate. Look, this is not glamorous. It's character development. Let's talk about guests, because this is where the emotional damage lives. Some people say, yeah, I'm definitely down. Then they disappear like my motivation on leg day. To be honest, you don't know what other people have got going on in their lives. So personally, I never take that personal. And you shouldn't either if you are in this line of work or in life in general, because whatever you're doing, you should just have more empathy for the next person and say, all right, pivot. Now let's talk about the part that nobody likes to talk about. This podcast has cost me travel, equipment, storage, and time. Woo! Time that could have been spent doing paid work or with the family, you know. Can't even quantify how much time and man hours I've put into this, but yeah. Editing one whole episode can take up to 3 hours, 5 hours, a whole day, sometimes 2 days. If I decide I don't like the way the episode looks after I've edited it, I go back and re-edit. And that's not perfectionism. That's just me having a different idea. I just keep tight deadlines and I try to do the best I can with each episode that I put out.
When you open up an editing project and you've just got thousands of raw images and it's all crap and everything's rubbish and then you've got to make it good. Yeah. And that's hard work. And then towards the end of it, it starts to look good. And you're like, oh, you know what? This is pretty cool, actually. Cool, yeah. And you start to enjoy it.
That's exactly the way I feel about editing. But here's the thing. I've never regretted it because building something that's yours hits different. Now we've had some epic fails on the Epicvision behind the scenes. There's been a time where I sat down with the guest, started recording, or I thought I started recording, only to realize that the camera was recording, but the microphone wasn't on. I'm nearly died inside, bro. And she said some really cool things as well. The vibe was lit from the jump. There was another time where I'd spent about 2 weeks editing an episode. The week before I was going to upload that, I transferred the file onto my computer and then it just crashed everything. It just corrupted all the files on my hard drive. And that episode was gone. I managed to recover the raw files, so I had to redo that. But guess what? It ended up being the long form content with the most views. You know, after all of that. That just goes to show you, you know, what happens when you don't give up. And when you really believe in something, you know, it doesn't matter what it costs you to make it. It just is what it is when you put it out there. The people who resonate with it will find it and love it. But yeah, I can laugh about all these things right now because all those mistakes are receipts of growth. You know, they show how far I've come. And it just makes me feel like nothing can shake me. You know, I've seen it all before. So even if it happens, I know how to duck and swerve, and I know how to pivot, and I know how to realign my focus and readjust my frame. Let me say this honestly. There have been times when I've wondered, is anybody watching? Every creator goes through this phase. It's like if I stop today, would anybody notice? But then I remember that the reason I started was not for views. It was for conversation, for community, and showing that creatives like us exist. Every guest that sits in that chair across from me feels seen, and that's what matters. Even if the algorithm is sleeping, I'm still here not because it's easy. I'm still here because it's real. Every episode, I get better. The audio gets tighter. My confidence grows. This podcast built me as much as I built it. And if you're at the stage where you feel invisible, congrats. That's the starting line. If nobody's clapping yet, clap for yourself. If nobody believes yet, believe even louder. If nobody's sharing yet, post it anyway. Because one day, people will see the success, but they will never really understand unless you tell the story, which is exactly why I made this episode. If you made it to the end of this episode, I appreciate you more than you know. If this helped you in any way, hit the like, share with a creative friend, and then subscribe if you're riding with us on this journey. This is how I built it. The real work nobody sees. See you on the next one.